Why do marriages get bored and dull over time? You see a married couple and they look so happy, and you talk to people that are married for a long time, and it seems like it's kind of bleak after the wedding day. It's almost as if the wedding day is the apex and it all starts going downhill from there. You throw in kids and game over. The number of extremely happy people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, happily married, dwindles rapidly as life goes on. What makes a meaningful marriage? What makes a truly satisfying one? How do you make marriage feel like an investment that is adding and aggregating over time versus one that is dwindling? In this video, I'm going to talk about why marriages lose their flair over time and what you can do about it. Let's start with the problem. Chances are, if you're watching this, you live in the Western world. And the predominant theme of living in the Western world is that we are living in a culture of individualism. The centerpiece of our operating philosophy is me. As a matter of fact, we are so self-centered that we even lack language to talk plurally. For instance, every other language has the concept of you plural, but not English, unless you're from the South and you say y'all. But even in our language, it is only me and you. The individual is at the center of our operating worldview. I say this not to criticize, but to say that you can't escape that marriage in this world is in this context. And marriages specifically in America are growing in this context of self-centeredness. It is about me. It is about my happiness. It is about my desires. It is about my goals. When I first got married, I had this grand idea that my wife would make me ultimately happy. She would love my hobbies, eat my food. We would do the same things. And I was disappointed when I found out there was incongruency with what I sought as my happiness and the marriage that I was in. There's one fatal flaw in this thinking that we don't think about when we get married. And the flaw is this. It is thinking that our spouse will make us truly happy. The concept of him or her completing me is an entirely flawed concept simply because we are flawed people. We are fallen, we are broken. And when you put two broken people together, expecting that the other fulfill their sense of happiness, what do you get? You get disappointment. We are flawed human beings, and therefore we only offer our flawed selves. What do we do about this? Is there any hope for a meaningful marriage? The answer is what I find to be the Bible's prescription and design for what marriage is. This particular passage is found in Ephesians. It says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church." Okay, I know this is just one sentence, but there's so much to unpack here. We have a couple things going on here. One is that the model of marriage is Christ. Specifically Christ and the church. And what do we know about Christ and the church? Christ loves the church. Christ loves the church so much that he gave his life for her. And this is the critical cultural understanding of what marriage is about, according to the Bible, and what our culture and American culture have understood it to be. Most of American culture goes into marriage with me and my happiness, whereas Jesus, the model of marriage, is about selflessness and about giving the other. And so we realize the meaning of marriage is not my happiness, but if we shift it to be about serving the other person as Christ served the church, suddenly things click. Marriage, which has serving at the center, is the foundation for a meaningful marriage. There are plenty of studies done about this, that people exude happiness not when they're consuming and collecting things as we're told in our culture. Rather, people are most happy when they are actually serving other people. If you ever had an experience of helping at a food pantry or giving money to someone that was in need, there's a feeling that literally goes off in your brain that, wow, that was meaningful, that was joyful. Extrapolate that into the context of marriage and you realize we have a powerful mechanism by which this serving comes into place. If our marriage is mostly about serving the other, suddenly we have 1,000 opportunities to be happy. And this is the Bible's prescription for what marriage is about. And suddenly when you shift two people from the mindset of what can I get to what can I give, you have this holy, beautiful matrimony where two people are competing not to be happier, but competing to say, how can I serve you more? How can I love you more? How can I bless you more? How can I honor you more? That is an extremely powerful marriage. It forms the foundation for the meaningful things that we can do in marriage. I believe marriage is a partnership. For me, the vehicle of marriage that God designed is that these two people will be partnered, one in flesh, one in body, one in spirit, so that they can do and create godly impact in the world. That only happens when the center of the marriage is built on serving each other. Because it's not about me and my accolades and my glory and my pleasure and my happiness. It is about you, and extrapolate that further. It is about the world, and it's about what people need and what God is doing in this hour. And suddenly you have the makings of a meaningful marriage because serving the other is at the center of it. When two people are bonded in love with a common purpose and a common goal to see the world changed for good, there is something irreplaceably satisfying about that relationship because it is not about me. I am part of something much, much larger. Serving is the foundation of what makes marriages meaningful over time. And they actually get better and better over time. You're watching this and you're like, man, I want that. Let me tell you something. Your marriage does not have to be the way it is right now. There is hope. I've seen a ton of their marriages transform over time when they make the shift from selfishness to selflessness. And if that's you, I want to just quickly say a prayer for you right now as you're watching this. You're listening to this in the car. Father, I pray for whoever's watching this, that you would shift their marriage from happiness to servant-heartedness, that you would remove selfish gain from their hearts, and that suddenly they would think and love about the other person more than they love themselves. And in that space, they actually get joy and happiness because that is how you designed marriage to be. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, if this has been helpful for you, leave a like, tell me in the comments below. I believe that you are made for greatness.